Welcome to the Verdin Verdict Sports Show. I'm your host, Jacob Verdin, joined by my guy, G-Sportz. G, LSU got a chance to go to a natty today. How you feeling? Feels a little special this morning or same old day?
I can't wait to see them kick off at 6 o'clock against Arkansas. I think that game is definitely gonna be box office. Um, and if they could win the day, I think they're gonna go ahead and win the Natty, bro. Because I think Arkansas is the only team left that could potentially beat them. So I'm curious to see how it's gonna play out today.
And you get 2 days rest. But there's a lot of worries. Everybody's worried about who's going to be on the mound. Do you put Einstein out there? We'll break all that down for you. We'll have the full College World Series update. We'll talk about some recruiting updates. Pelicans made a big trade and might allude to them getting into the top three and trying to grab Ace Bailey. And Halliburton took a spill, rough ending. Break all it down for you, G. Well, what's been going on? And she got an update for us. I'm gonna let you update the fans here.
Yeah, so I was able to talk to Jelani Watkins' father, the receiver for LSU that just won the bronze, the national championships in track. His daddy, Cornell Watkins, uh, informed me on yesterday that Jelani will be playing football and that he's a football guy. And whoever started those rumors inside LSU's building or started those rumors, period, that they are absolutely false. He said he will be playing football at LSU. He loves LSU and he sees a bright future over there. Um, as it pertains to Lamar Brown. A lot of people wanted to know why he canceled his visit this weekend at LSU. Well, Lamar Brown informed me that the reason why he did cancel his visit because it was an unofficial visit at first, and him and his mother thought that was a waste of time. And then the coaches ended up calling his head coach and calling his mother and letting them know, like, look, no, we don't want it to be an unofficial visit. We want it to be an official visit, which made Lamar Brown change his mind about now coming on a visit to LSU this weekend. So he said he loves LSU. They definitely have a shot to get him. But he said he's still trying to figure some things out.
Okay. Good updates, and I feel like just those things on recruiting, like the officials, the unofficials, to a fan, it don't really mean much, but to a player, to an athlete, a lot of things changes from regulations to what you can do, what you can talk about, what you can see. It's a whole different dynamic
I
there.
was, but I'm confused on why would LSU even try to make that an unofficial visit. I know he go to UI and that's in your backyard, but why not make that an official visit? That just didn't make any sense to me. Why that had to be cleared up for him to say I'm coming back on a visit? That's strange in my mind.
The top prospect in the boot at that, and then
I,
I was hearing some things about him wanting to play defensive line, and that's been
oh,
his
oh,
focus.
I'm sorry I left that part out. He did clear this up. He said, "G, I don't want to play offensive line in college. I want to play defense." He said that's what he wants to play. And he's told every school that's recruiting him that he wants to play defense. I did uh, communicate to him. I thought he'll be phenomenal at offensive line. I thought he could be a first round pick. But he says his mind is set on playing defense in college. He said offensive line is out the question.
And that type of talent, if he says that's a side he wants to be on, the coaches are going to buy that. You know what I mean? Like when you get to that point, when you get to this rating, this ranking, if you will.
And here's the thing
Oh,
too,
you're
people got to understand. Even if you're a staff and you feel like he's a better offensive lineman than a defensive lineman, right? Okay, you want to play defense, cool. Recruit him, let him come to your school, let him start off on the defensive side of the ball. Let's just say things don't work out or you don't see him trending in the right direction. Then when the season's over, you have your exit meeting, sit Lamar Brown down and say, look, we gave it a shot this year. Would you consider moving to the offensive line this year since it looked like you kind of struggled this year defensive line? You can he can always go back to that side of the ball. So even if he does come in as a defensive lineman, it's not to say that he can't switch positions later on in his career. So it's not the end all be all. So whatever school's recruiting him, even if you see him, your vision for your program to have him in on offensive line, and he only wants to play defensive line, that don't mean you still don't recruit him and try to get him to come to your school because things could change snap of a heartbeat.
exactly, especially whenever you get a big picture, like you were talking about exit meetings, just comprehensive review on how you did your performance. Proof is in the pudding. If he's able to sink or swim, that's going to
And
be the deciding factors.
And LSU has been known to do that. We remember Corey Webster, right? Corey Webster started off at wide receiver at LSU. And then I think maybe his second year, might have been his third. I think it was his second year. They moved him to cornerback. And he was a two-time All-American, got picked in the second round, right? We seen Jawan Johnson come in as a
Yep.
as a DB, right? Moved into running back in the middle of the season. Now he's at quarterback. So we've seen this, and there's a couple other people that did it too. Um I can't think of it right now, but there's a couple other people that played at LSU that started off at one position, then moved to another position as they stayed in the program. So this is nothing new. So I think Lamar Brown will be suited just fine if he came to LSU and started off at the defensive line. And look, it might work out. We'll see.
And that's one of the positions I feel like that if you can get a prospect like that in the top, number one recruit in terms of Louisiana and just a well-known blue chip, that's going to add a lot of steam and momentum for Kyle Williams, for this defense that they're rebuilding, revamping. You're going to have a bright future ahead. So you got to lock in on this one, especially if the Jakeem Stewart thing didn't work out last year. You got to make an effort this year to be able to right those wrongs, so to speak, in this recruiting class. I think LSU dropped to like number 13 or 15. I mean, the rankings don't matter at this point, but they were the number one class a few months ago, and now it's changing. Things are shuffling around. This would be one of the big pieces to add to be able to get you back into at least the top 10 or maybe even
Yeah.
the top 5.
Michael Turner did it too. Came in as a wide receiver, and then when fall camp came, Corey Raymond said, "Nah, I want you on this side of the ball, brother. Let's go."
Yes, indeed. Segue into the College World Series. Tonight is the night. Now, we got a lot of question marks here. I put one in the chat for everybody. If you want to chime in, give your take, put your little Jay Johnson cap on and see who you throw out there for a bump day. There's a lot of options, right? There's a lot of groups of thought. We'll get to them in a little bit. First things first, what happened? How did LSU even get in the spot? Tigers beat UCLA 9-5. Yeah, the game was stalled by weather. Rain delays and LSU baseball go hand in hand at this point. I'm almost surprised if the LSU game goes uninterrupted right now with the history and with the recent track record. Mother Nature seems to like to mess around a little bit with some of these third days. But UCLA jumped out to a quick 3-0 lead in the first inning, and look, my heart started racing. I'm like, "Oh, Lord, here we go." It's been a interesting trend for LSU's offense, and whenever you see teams scoring bunches like that, you kinda get a little worried because you're wondering if they're able to keep up, and then Bear Jones comes up to the mound after the Tigers plate one, hits a bomb, dog. Like, answered all the doubters, right? Last game, he went 0 for 5 strikeouts, everybody heard about it, back in the slump. And then boom, 3-run blast. Puts LSU ahead. Big response. Then obviously, weather rolls in. What's new? LSU had Anthony Ianson out on the mound. I think he threw about 45 pitches. Whenever they started the game and resumed it the next day at 10 o'clock in the morning, they threw out Casan Evans. So now you do have the potential for Ianson to come in. Maybe today, maybe tomorrow. We'll get to that in a little bit. Arkansas handled UCLA, though. They had a little doubleheader, the Bruins. And I mean, look, I'm not saying I expected UCLA to get bumped, but when you have to play in the morning and turn around at 6 o'clock at night, go back out there, I think they threw like 8 pitchers in that game, G. Even if they did make it through, it wasn't going to work out much longer. So like you were saying at the beginning of the stream, this is probably the most competitive matchup that could have happened to get someone to punch their ticket to the national championship in LSU and Arkansas. So it's a rematch. But look, the Tigers only need one. Arkansas is going to have to win back-to-back. LSU, all they got to do is get one of the two. And here's an interesting stat that the ESPN broadcast popped up. Arkansas in the College World Series, 0-4 versus LSU. So look, it's not a good start, not a good trend. And needing 2 in a row here, I think that's a tough task. I'm feeling confident for LSU. Now, to the end of the game for Arkansas and UCLA, if you didn't stay up and watch it, in that 9th inning, they let UCLA plate 3 runs. They had a lot of balls in the dirt. You had some errors, I think, from the catcher. The announcer had a fantastic analogy talking about, like, it's like playing golf, dog, and on the 18th hole, triple bogey, and you got a bad taste in your mouth. Winning that game and getting to this point, yeah, you had to do a lot of work. Yeah, you had to get some, bumps and bruises along the way. But with the way that LSU handled it and the way that LSU got to this point versus the way that Arkansas did, I feel like Arkansas is a lot more battered, right? And I mean, look, their bullpen is deep, so I'm not trying to discredit anything or say that they're going to come into this a lot more drained. But LSU's got a lot better chance. I mean, if you look at Vegas, they're riding them hot, plus 100 to win this whole entire College World Series, and for good reason. Now, to answer who's going out next, you got a little question mark there, right? Top 3 options already worked. Here's the two options I think that you could lean on. Two groups of thought, if you will. Dug around, try to do as much digging as possible, but they're going to keep this close to the vest. So it's going to go one of two ways, in my opinion. You could sit Einson, save him for the must win. Because like I said, you only need one of the two. So you can go out today, throw out, whether it be Chase Shores, Jaden Newt, Zach Cohen, Shay, you could use all of them, G, and save Einson for a bullpen moment if need be. Or you throw Einson out today, 3 to 4 innings, he gets relieved, and he sits for game 1 and game 2 of a potential College World Series, and he could play again on Monday for game 3. Because, if he plays tomorrow a full game, he ain't playing for the rest of the College World Series. He ain't pitching, he ain't doing nothing. Not especially after yesterday throwing 45 and then having to, go out and do an entire, 80 to 90 pitch count game. You're going to have to, try to save him a little bit in terms of his career, his arm, and all the overall strength. It's just going to depend on your philosophy, though. You want to win now, get it over with, throw Ianson for a couple, and then save him. Or put your depth out there. And it's not to say that he can't come in a bullpen moment. It's not to say that if trouble brews, you can't send him out on the mound in a 5th inning, 6th inning. But, do you want to even let it get to that point? Put your coach's cap on and just break down that philosophy. Win now, get it over with, get Arkansas out of the way. I think they're number 1 in the country in home runs at 126. And they got the bullpen. They got the depth. Like this, it's not out the realm of possibility for them to go out, mitigate LSU's offense, and if they score 3 runs, it's over with. You know what I'm saying? Like you could potentially see them stretch this to another game tomorrow. So do you try to get it out the way now, throw your best pitcher, or hit the brakes a little bit, see if your bullpen depth can get it done, and then move out into the mix?
I'm definitely going with my depth to start this game. You got to always think about the worst case scenario. Because if this thing stretches out, right, you're gonna need Ianson down the road to be able to bring you home. All right. This is not like it's a win or go home situation. So I would definitely use him as a bullpen pitcher this game. And you never know. The depth of their pitching rotation might come up big today. If it doesn't, you go and you could put him in and pick maybe in the 3rd or 4th inning to try to bring you home in this game. And even if you lose, all right, you still live to fight another day. But what I was really impressed with on last night was the offense. We talked about it. I said that the two aces between Anderson and Ianson, right? You can't expect them to play flawless throughout this whole College World Series. What happened? They rocked Ianson. He gave up 4 runs in the 1st inning, and he only pitched 4 innings, right? And they had to go with their depth. And the offense is what saved LSU against UCLA last night. And we talked about, if LSU wants to be able to win the World Series and hold that trophy, they're gonna have to score about 7 to 8 runs to be able to make sure that the 2 aces, it doesn't have to pitch a perfect game in a sense. And that's what they did. I knew at some point Anderson or Ianson was gonna have a shaky performance, and it happened against UCLA. Hopefully Ianson can redeem himself when he gets another opportunity, and hopefully Anderson doesn't have a shakeup the rest of the way through.
Mm-hmm. We got Blanche in the chat saying Arky is not beaten. Oh, he's already crowning him 2025 Natty champ. So, okay, all right. Talking about the sloppiness in the 9th inning. I agree. I feel like that stood out to me a little bit. And it's not the biggest thing. It's not making it seem like, all right, Arkansas is a terrible team. That's not the case. It's just more so about the stamina and the point you're at in the season. LSU sitting back all day. And sure, they didn't get their whole day off, right? Weather came in, did all that crap, but you only play half a game. Arkansas's out there slinging it last night. They got to turn around at 6 o'clock, play again. And if they want to get to a national championship, they're going to have to do it all over again on Thursday. The odds are stacked up against them, and the odds from Vegas reflect that. They're plus 280 to win this whole thing. Bro, Coastal Carolina is ahead of them. They're the 2nd best favored team, and obviously it's because they're going to win their bracket 1. But with LSU, one more thing I want to add. I'm not going to sleep on Arkansas all the way, though, because if I had to be 100% honest and transparent, I do think Arkansas got a deeper bullpen. I do think they got a lot of pitcher staff to be able to throw out there. The thing about LSU, one, you've been around the block. Arkansas has not won yet. And I ain't going to, jab them in the side and rub it in. But I'm just saying, like, there's merit in the fact that even 2 years ago, Jay Johnson did this, hoisted the trophy, been in this situation. I'm going to take the experience. It's kind of like what we talk about with the quarterbacks and college football playoff odds. You want to go with the tried, true methods. And then with LSU and Ianson, you're not in a spot today where you have to go out and push all your chips in. This is not
Exactly.
a sink or swim moment. If you put your depth out there and you need to put in some relief, you got it. But at the end of the day, if it works and you get to save him for a game 1 or a game 2 or whatever the case may be, you might already be able to get fitted for them rings. I ain't gonna lie. I'm confident in LSU being able to take at least one of the two versus the Piggies. You only need one, dog. They need
And I'm
two in a row. They're 0-4 against you in this damn tournament.
and I'm gonna tell you what was big too. You know, we've been talking about it since the playoffs started, since the super regional, the regionals, about the first baseman Jones and how he was struggling, and then he had a good game. I think it was in the super regionals. He kind of got out of the slump. Who that was against?
Was it Little Rock?
No, Little Rock was in the regionals, right? No, the regionals. That was Dallas Baptist and who did they play in the regionals? Arkansas Little Rock was in the super regionals, right?
Yeah, I'm pulling up Bear Jones stats right now.
I remember he was struggling, and then he came back and hit a home run. I think he went like 3 for 5, and he kind of got out of that slump. But I brought all that up to say he was struggling in the beginning of this, since they've been in Omaha. And last night he went 3 for 5, had 4 RBIs, and I think the difference is, and I talked about it on the last episode, Jay Johnson moving him out that 3 spot and putting him in that 5 spot. And he was in that 5 spot on last night, and he went 3 for 5 and had 4 RBIs. I thought that was the key to their offense, and that's how they was able to, come away with that victory.
It was a closeout versus West Virginia, 3 for
West
4
Virginia, that's what it
performance.
was. West Virginia, yeah. That
And
was that.
then
Yeah, every other game they struggled.
and that's the secret to this, the whole entire tournament, right? It's not about the plan that you can put in, the game plan, all the research, all the film. I'm gonna be honest, it's how you adjust, it's how you react, it's how in the moment you're able to shift the lineup, throw somebody out there, or just respond to the heat of battle. And I'm gonna double down on my point earlier. The fact that LSU has been in this situation before gives me a lot more confidence, because that method, it worked. I mean, yeah, you had Dylan Cruz, Paul Skeens, Trey Morgan, you had dogs, right? You still got dogs now. It's just they haven't yet to have their moment in the sun, and I think it's coming. I feel like the plus 100 odds, I would ride them. I ain't gonna lie. I think they're gonna punch their ticket to the finals, and then it's looking like they're gonna play Coastal Carolina. Gee, only the College World Series can provide a matchup like that. Like LSU and Coastal Carolina and a natty, dog. And if it ain't them, it's Louisville. So it's like you wouldn't hear that.
Man,
No
that was a
damn.
hell of a game last night with Louisville and Coastal Carolina. Huh?
I feel like I'm not gonna call them small teams and disrespect them, but that's what I like the most about this college baseball aspect, is that you never can rule anybody out. It could be a small program. It could be.
Well,
It's all about how you throw them lineups out and tweak and change, and just more to Jay Johnson's point with him and the pitching staff, and just how he's able to handle it and keep it close to the vest and get everybody ready. Ianson saying that he can pitch at any time, whenever his name is called, whenever his number's called, so to speak. He's ready. He said in the bullpen, I'm throwing 40 to 50 pitches. This ain't nothing. Like, I'm ready to go back out there. And then Casan Evans, apparently, this is the word on the street. When that delay hit, when they were packing and going back to the buses, so to speak, or going back inside because of the weather, Casan knew he was coming back out. Whether it was that night, next day, like, he was already mentally prepared. So I'm just saying, whoever's on the mound today, they've known, they're preparing for it. They're getting into that zone. It's not going to be one of those last minute decisions where Jay's stressing out. And I feel like that speaks to, the overall confidence and experience that they've had at this spot. I think this is his 8th College World Series, if I'm not mistaken. Pretty impressive. Let's talk about this college football recruiting real quick. All right. So we talked about Lamar Brown and the visit, monopoly board, whatever you want to call it, the plugging and playing, coming, not coming. Tristen Keys is in a similar situation, but it's not to his own doing. Apparently, Alabama canceled his visit on Tuesday. Yesterday, he was supposed to go to Tuscaloosa, and for some reason, did not go on his official visit. He cleared up some of the, rumors and all the topics on Twitter. He said that he did not cancel it. He got a call after a training session to not come. Bags were already packed, yada, yada. He wanted to go down there. Then he doubled down and responded to somebody else and said, look, it's not about the money. All these decisions I'm making, it's not about the money. He went on the On3 podcast and he was saying he's prioritizing development over NIL bread. And first, I'm just going to say, why not LSU? If you want to be developed at the wide receiver position, I feel like this is the 50,000th time I've said this on the show. LSU is a clear cut wide receiver you. And yeah, everybody's going to debate. Well, what about Ohio State or this or that? Okay, cool, whatever. I'll humor you. Then LSU's top two. It don't matter. At least in terms of recent track records, LSU's put out a lot of tried and true players that aren't just going to get in the door. They're going to stay in the door. Matter of fact, they might be able to rebuild the damn door and make it 10 foot taller because of all the shit that they're going to have to bring in with them. Accolades, Super Bowl rings, Brinks truck bags with $50 million a year in it. It seems like the spot to be able to, make your name known and just be in that spotlight. No, he's headed to LSU still this weekend. He's taking the whole family with him, he said. He even made a comment talking about he'll help recruit for the Tigers for their 2026 class. He's going to help, pitch a little bit, have a little bit of fun, try to build that class. They talked about Bo Bentley, talked about Kenny Darby, the relationships he has with both of them. I just want to ask you this question. The alarm bells rang, and they rang heavy when we saw the Adidas deal and we saw, the Tennessee pictures and all this stuff. But I just feel like, do we put that much stock into that? And is this, focus on development believable? Because he's talking about potential deals and market values all being the same across the board, right? Let's say he's getting the rumored 1 million from Tennessee. I think every other school at this point is projected to have around, I don't know, 700 grand for that position. It's not a big drop off, but in terms of production and spotlight and what you're going to be able to do out of school, I think that might be able to hold more weight. Do you think that this focus on development is really something that LSU can put some stock in and be like, all right, this could be one of our guys?
Yeah, I don't think he's telling a lie when he said that he's focused on development. Having said all of that, I know that's not the only thing he's focused on. But I think one thing that LSU has in a favor in trying to land Tristen Keys is, and we've been talking about it since the season ended. There's going to have a lot of receivers that's leaving out of this room at season's end. Xavier Thomas is going to be gone, right? Barry and Brown's going to be gone. Chris Hilton is going to be gone. Aaron Anderson is a good chance he'll be gone. That's a lot of receivers leaving out of that room, and there's going to have a lot of room for him to come in as a true freshman and play. And I think if the LSU staff wants to land Tristen Keys, you need to keep on emphasizing that time. We got a lot of guys leaving out this room after this year. So you're gonna have a lot of opportunity to play early and play as a true freshman and kind of be similar to what and do similar to what Jeremiah Smith did. All right. That's what you gotta sell him on. And I think that it's not believable because when you go look at the eligibility of those receivers I just named, they have none after this year. All right, Aaron Anderson is the only one that I named that has eligibility left after this year, and I think Aaron Anderson is about to have a hell of a year. And if he's projected to go in the top three, even I think top 4 rounds, I think Aaron Anderson is done at LSU. All right, I really believe that. So it's going to have a lot of opportunity for Tristen Keys to come in as a true freshman, and I think that's the best way to sell him. NIL, of course, you got to match what the other schools are doing. All right, and then with that $12.5 million they're getting to be able to pay their players, all right, you're gonna have to take maybe 800,000 to 700 to 800,000 in paying. Now, of course, all it has to go to the board and get approved. But I think with him being the number one receiver in the country and his following, I think they'll be able to pay him that kind of money, and I think the rest will take care of itself. But this thing is far from over, dog. Like, I don't care what happens on this official visit this weekend. He could come out and tweet, "Go Tigers! I'm recruiting for the Tigers." I won't believe it until that signature come through that fax machine. Too many times in the past, we see kids say talk a nice game and say they committed and say they love this school, and then the week of signing day or 2 days before signing day, a whole bunch of stuff changed. All right, and also I've been talking about this a lot lately. The stability of the program is going to play a factor into if he's going to sign. In my mind. All right, if the LSU Tigers get off to a rocket start and Brian Kelly is on the hot seat, you best believe Tristen Keys gonna start snooping around and start kind of paying his attention to some other schools and kind of opening his options for real. Then, so this thing is a long way from over, and the Tigers got their work cut off for them, just like they got their work cut off for Lamar Brown.
I agree. That's got to be the mindset that you have in these things, just for a sanity perspective. And then even with Alabama canceling the visit, it's he got a whole year left of high school football, dog. Like they could get him back on campus during the season, during the game for another official visit. And then like Blanche is saying in the chat, it's a double-sided thing. But one, Cortez Hankton is a big piece of this as well. I mean, he's already been sought after. He's already one of the best. I'm not gonna say position coaches because I feel like he's got a big role in the passing game as well. So he'd be considered a coordinator in that aspect. I feel like
I can tell you this firsthand that Cortez Hankton has been offered a number of jobs
mhm,
since he's been at LSU. I don't know if y'all remember the reports with Sean McVay
with the
trying
Rams
to
after
bring
the
him
Super
in, trying
Bowl.
to bring him in with the Rams. This past season that just ended, uh, Callahan from the Cowboys was trying to bring him in as the receiver coach. So, uh, Hankton is a hot name right now. All
Oh
right,
yeah,
he's a hot name right now. So it's not promised that he'll be at LSU. After this year, especially if Barron Brown, Aaron Anderson, and Nick Anderson, they have some really good years, and Chris Hilton, and you have two or three receivers get drafted, man, his name gonna be super super hot. And I know a lot of schools gonna be calling, and I know a lot of NFL teams gonna keep calling.
yep. Especially dating back to what he did at Georgia, working with Lat McConkey or working with somebody like Brock Bowers potentially. Even though he was in the tight end room, still getting some rubbing on that. The dude's got a huge track record like that. That's going to be a huge piece to this as well for the whole offensive production side, the recruiting side. I mean, coaching stability. Everybody focuses on Brian Kelly, but that's a big piece as well to the pie, if you will. Segue real quick. Pelicans made a move. G got a nice little trade done. Gave the Pacers a 2026 first round pick back, which is not going to be worth much. I mean, we've been talking about them in the finals. They're probably going to have a nice year next year as well. That pick is going to be a low first rounder, probably around your late 20s, early 30s. But what they do get is the 23rd pick this year. So you got 7, you got 23. You can do two things with them. Now I'm going to open the floor to you. You could use both of those picks to trade up, go get an Ace Bailey, and then potentially get some more first rounders if you move a guy like Zion, or you take number 7 and number 23, and you add bless you, and you
Thank you.
add some
God
depth.
bless the truth.
Yep. And you could take the 7 and 23 and add some depth around Zion. It really is just going to depend on what direction they want to go in their rebuild. And I know that word is a rough word in Louisiana, especially because both professional sports are in that period right now. But look, that's just the fact of the matter is the Pelicans are in a little bit of a rebuild spot this season. So do you think that this man right here should hit the bricks, get some, assets for him, whatever it may be, couple of firsts, maybe a first next year, whatever, or should they lock and load and add some pieces around them? Like at 7 and 23, there's not much you could really add. You might be able to grab a little shooting guard. They got one from Texas. I feel like that would be all right, but like you don't have anything to write home about, anything to get hype, anything that's really going to transform this team. So would you just send both of them, try to move into the top 3, grab someone you could build around, and then potentially move them? What would you do if you Joe Dumars? What's best case scenario for the Pels?
Joe Dumars is in a crucial time in the Pelicans history right now. All right. The decision he's about to make can either set the Pelicans franchise back another 2 to 3 years, or you could put him in position to be a championship contender going forward. All right. Love Zion Williamson. I think he's a transcendent talent. I think when he's healthy, he's a top 10 player, top 12 player in the league. But I think it's time to move on. You take them 2 first round picks, you take Zion Williamson, you move him, get that second pick from the Spurs, and you go get Ace Bailey. That's what you do. All right. And you pair him up with DeJounte Murray. You pair him up with Trey Murphy. You pair him up with Herb Jones. I like the way Messi looked at last year as a rookie, the kid from Baylor. And you add a couple of more pieces to go along with Alvarado off the bench. I think that puts the Pelicans as a top 4 team in the West, top 5 team in the West. Does that mean they're going to be a championship contender next year? I'm not saying that, but that puts them in the playoffs, and now you start moving in the right direction. I think if you hold on to Zion Williamson, and he has another setback with an injury, or can't keep his weight under control, right? You just keep on setting this franchise back, and now you start losing value for Zion. Trade him while you still can get something for him. That's just my mindset right now, and I hope that's what Joe Dumars does. Because if he doesn't make the right decision here, a lot of fans gonna be upset if they have another setback with Zion this upcoming season. We tired of hearing all the stuff about how his body looks good and he's in the best shape and he has a nutritionist and all this, and then the season comes and then he misses 55 to 60 games. And he teases us with those 20 to 30 games he plays when he averages 25 and a 12 and he has all these outstanding plays and we thinking about what the future could be and he could get us in the playoffs. Man, we tired of that. We tired of it. All right. Go ahead, move on, and let another training staff deal with him. Let another franchise deal with him. Maybe a change of scenery helps him. I don't know. Maybe it's the food, the seafood. I don't know. The crawfish. I don't know. Too much sodium down here in the south. I don't know. Move on from it. All right. And I wish Zion the best because I think he's a good person. You know, I got a chance to know him when he was on the Adidas circuit and when he was at the Dallas All American games that week. I think he's a good person. But sometimes, bro, you need to change the scenery to get your career together. And I think that's the case with Zion Williamson.
I agree. Got Coco in the chat giving us an update real quick on the College World Series. Coastal Carolina 5-0 in the first.
Jesus Christ.
That's a lot of offense, guys. That's a lot of offense. I ain't gonna lie. Hey, I'm interested to see a Coastal Carolina LSU national championship, though. Ain't gonna lie to you, because look, I don't think they scoring 5 in the first when you got Anderson on the bump. You got potentially Einstein getting saved, depending on how Jay Johnson uses them. Going back to that Zion comment, though. I ain't gonna lie. I feel like if you package the 7th and the 23rd in a specific way, maybe go to the 76ers with the 3rd pick or something, you might be able to move him or move those 2 picks for that. And then you can save Zion for something else. Because look, if you can get a deal like what the Magic did with Desmond Bane, dog, 4 first rounders, and you get Cole Anthony, and you get KCP, I mean,
Bro,
dude, go rob somebody. Go try to
bro,
rob somebody.
bro. I don't know what the Magic thinking about. I just like I when I saw the deal, I was like, bro, what are they
Is this
doing?
2K? They wouldn't even let you do that in 2K, dog.
Bro, I don't get it. I
Yeah,
don't get it.
because Desmond Bane, I mean, look, great dude.
Good
I don't
player, really
believe
good player, but he wasn't worth all that to me.
he right now after this season ranked in the top 25 in points, rebounds, or assists. I don't think he had a tremendous stat that he was even considered a leader in at that point. And yeah, you know, you're in a tough environment with Jaron and Ja, and you got a lot of pieces around you. So yeah, you know, it's hard to spread the rock, but it's just like after seeing the Luka trade or even the BI trade, moving him to the Raptors from the Pelicans, like the trade value is doing this in the NBA,
And
fluctuating like bad.
and see, even with the BI trade, bro, like I felt like they traded the wrong person. I would have traded Zion to the Raptors and held on to BI. Like
Of
that's what I would
course,
have done. That's what I would have did.
and like you were saying with Joe Dumars having a pivotal decision already, like you would leave a bad taste in every single fan's mouth upon your arrival and have everybody already turn your back against you. Or you can make a hell of a move. Maybe you confuse some people, but in the end, I feel like it could potentially work out. It's really just how risky, how bold are you feeling? It seems like the clear cut choice, though. I'm not gonna lie to you.
And I stand on this. I just think Ace Bailey has the most upside in this draft. I really believe it.
It's interesting that the Pelicans. Hey, Joe Dumars must have been listening though. He must have been tapped in.
Telling
He
you,
must have took
I'm,
some
I'm
game.
telling you, bro. I'm
You
telling
think
you.
they can get him with the 3rd pick or a 2nd pick slated for sure?
Well, the Spurs, a lot of people out of the Spurs organization have kind of alluded to they going after Dylan Harper. All right,
Okay.
they want to pair Dylan Harper with De'Aaron Fox. So that's been the rumor coming out of the Spurs camp since they got the lottery. They won the lottery and was able to get that 2nd pick. So I don't think that they're going to pick Ace Bailey. So I think this is already kind of formulating to Cooper Flag going one, Dylan Harper going two, Ace Bailey going three to the 76ers. That's how if it stayed like that today, that's how they would get picked. So I would imagine that the Pelicans would be trading with the 76ers. And it's been rumors that Zion wants to be in a big market. Philly's a big market. So I think it'll be a win-win for both parties.
I agree. And then look, you never know what happens with the Spurs with that draft pick that they got because they taking calls for Kevin Durant. They could lose that pick. You think
Yeah.
that would be a smart decision?
Possibly. If I'm the Spurs, and I know some people saying that the Bucks are not going to trade Giannis. If I'm the Spurs, bro, I'm packaging some stuff and trying to get Giannis the team up with De'Aaron Fox and Wemby. That would be, oh my God, I don't even want to think about that.
Yeah, that's one of them courts. Like, how you gonna draw up a scheme to stop someone with the length like Wemby, and then the
Oh
minute
my
that you throw a double
God,
team, Giannis is cutting on the baseline. Yeah,
that would be, oh,
and then
and they
Pop.
young, and they all fairly young. I think what Giannis 27,
Let's go check.
De'Aaron Fox like 26, 27.
Giannis is 30.
Giannis 30. God damn.
Yeah. Let's see De'Aaron Fox,
Still in his prime
27.
though. Yeah, De'Aaron Fox 27. So you got your three top players are 30 or younger.
And Wemby 21, dog. He just was able to buy a beer. Like just now.
Yeah,
Damn.
that'd be nasty.
And Giannis got almost 10 years left in him. He could play to 40.
And I hope that don't happen because I would love for Giannis to come to my Rockets. That's what I really want to happen.
I ain't even getting my hopes up no more, dog. Windhorst
Yeah.
killed it for me. Brian Windhorst, he killed my hopes. I ain't
Come on,
lying.
Giannis ain't gonna. They don't have no state taxes in Texas, man. Come on
I
down.
know.
No state
Look,
taxes.
I don't want KD. I don't. I'm
No, I
scared.
don't want either. Either.
I'm
No
scared.
disrespect. I just
Right.
don't. I don't think that's a good fit.
Especially with potentially what you have to give up. I ain't lying. Carolina scored 6 at the end of the first. It just went out 6-0. First inning. There's a lot of games where LSU don't score 6 the whole game, dog. People getting worried. Look at Blanche in the chat. He hit us with a face palm. Bam. Come on now. Well, don't get worried yet. That's Louisville's pitchers that's letting that happen. I don't think LSU's aces is going to let that happen. But this is probably why you try to save Einstein. Throw that depth out today.
Louisville
Hit
gonna try
that.
to put their rally caps on like they did last night.
Man, UCLA with a damn string cheese, dipping it in the dirt, bro. Come on now. Do something. You got to get creative. A lot of baseball left, though. So you can't get emotional in the first. I got emotional in the first when UCLA went up 3-0. You got to tape them emotions back. A lot of baseball left. This shit going to take 3 more hours. So
Relax.
one swing of the bat and so what. Appreciate everybody for joining. We're going to be live again Friday at 1 o'clock, hopefully, with some good news. Either way, we're going to have some news, whether it be LSU in, LSU out, because the game 2 could potentially be Thursday. So it's all going to be sorted out before we live again.
Before
Hopefully
we
it's good.
go, do you think the Pacers extended series?
No. Not with Halliburton getting hurt, dog. He went 0 for
Even
6
if
on the.
Halliburton did get hurt, man, it
Yeah,
was
you
done.
right.
I told y'all after they gave us that large lead in game 4, they was done. It's over with. They had his shot.
I'm glad that they were able to take the first game and make this competitive and stretch this out, though. I'm glad it wasn't just straight BTA whooping, like just smacking them. Like they were able to keep it competitive, but then when Halliburton went down, bro. I mean, even before that, you see the writing on the
Yeah, they was
wall.
done anyway, bro. They was done.
But
I said it. I say it all the time. They couldn't handle success. Couldn't handle it.
shout out Siakam, though. Tip of the cap. Jalen Williams with a 40-piece career high. Oh my
Oh
god.
yeah.
They definitely got a big 2. I mean, people try to say they got a big 3. Hey, Chad's big. He ain't part of no damn big 3 though. I'm sorry, no disrespect. I'm just saying he big for sure. 7'3". He got them, but it ain't a big 3 like it used to be. Could get their first chip though. Thunder getting the first ring. Hosted Larry O'Brien. Shea gonna get another MVP award. Would have been nice to see the Pacers win though. That's what I wanted to see. I expected the Thunder to win. I wanted, for my sake, to watch Halliburton go. It was a good story. He was red hot all playoffs, and then boom, get their first back-to-back loss, and now it's up. I think he pulled a calf. They're trying to get him out there. Look, I got
He
a
gonna
quote.
play. They gonna shoot him up with that cortisone. He gonna play.
Yeah, he's saying he wanted to doing everything in his power to deal with the calf strain, receiving 24-hour treatment. Odds are he gonna play. When I see day-to-day, I normally expect him to
The
get in there.
finals, bro. It's the finals.
It's the last game. Last game you get a vacation, dog. Just throw it all out there. Leave it all out there. Appreciate everybody for tuning in. Hit that like button on the way out, please. Follow us at Verdin Verdict. We got some stuff up our sleeve. Hit a follow for G. Got all his links below as well. At G_sports on Twitter. Got your Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, whole 9 yards. Appreciate everybody for tapping in. Friday at 1 o'clock. Y'all make sure y'all there.